Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. On today's show, I want to talk about retiring in 5 years or less. At Lifestyles Unlimited, that is one of our core mission statements. I mean, really, if we're going to peel back the entire onion and we're going to talk about what we do at Lifestyles Unlimited, and for those of you out there wondering what Lifestyles Unlimited is, we're a real estate education and mentoring company. That's what we do. We've been doing that very successfully over the last 30 years. We have retired so many people from their corporate jobs. We've helped people to find a different path to retirement. And if you're one of those people that's on that retirement glide plane of, work really hard, put the time in at the office, get that paycheck, trade your time for money, go on that 30, 40, 50-year time plan where you continue to inject money into mutual funds or stocks or bonds or whatever your financial planner has told you to put the money in, get to a point in the future where you stop working, and then hopefully you've built this giant pile of money up. And you're going to live off of that pile of money and deplete it down over time. And if you've calculated everything correctly, you won't run out of money before you die, and there'll be some money left over to give to your heirs. I mean, that's really the conventional wisdom out there. It really is. And at Lifestyles Unlimited, we have a different focus. We think that following that game plan to retirement is a recipe for disaster. We think that we don't know how long we're going to live. We don't. There are statistics out there that will tell you that 29% of all those people that grew up over time in your age group don't even make it to the age of 65, which is quote unquote the target age for retirement. Yeah. And we're not making that up. That comes right out of the Census Bureau. That's where we got that data from. So retiring in 5 years or less may sound like a pipe dream to you. It may sound like, something completely unattainable. But I'm here to tell you that it is absolutely obtainable. We can educate you on the proper techniques and procedures so that you can start building your own real estate investment business, and you can capitalize on that business and start growing what we call passive income. Now, passive income, that's a cool thing. That's money that comes from your investments on a monthly or quarterly basis. It is based on the fact that you have invested money into assets that are in turn returning cash flow to you. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So far I've talked about two of our mission statement components. The fact that we will educate you to get you to a point where you can retire in 5 years or less. We've talked about utilizing passive income as a mechanism to start replacing your ordinary income. Now, your ordinary income is money that you get for performing your job. That's that W-2 income that you get. At the end of the year, you get a W-2 from your employer and you file that with your taxes. And then, of course, you get to pay all your taxes. The other thing that we will teach you to do is to stop relying on your 401k or your IRA or your SEP or your Simple or your Kiage or your pension to retire you. See, we are firmly in our belief that those things are nothing but glorified savings accounts. Yeah, many of them, they've got a market component to them, meaning that you'll take your money and you'll usually take it before it even shows up in your paycheck. I mean, that's the way these things are designed. The money gets taken out of your check before you even have a chance to spend it. That's how they control the money. And more importantly, it gets put into these different vehicles. And with those vehicles, you can make certain investments. And what you're hoping to do is to invest that money, and that money over time will grow at a certain rate that you'll get the benefit of compounded interest. And as a result of that, you will set yourself up for a place in the future where you'll have that big giant pile of money, and then you get to start living off of it. And of course, you have to hope that things like market forces don't impact the valuation of that money. Yeah, that's really what conventional wisdom is. And what got me started with all of this today was I was looking at alternative methods. In other words, what are some of the ways out there where people have formulated a concept that you can retire in 5 years or less? And I found one that has nothing to do with real estate. It's something called FIRE. That's what they call it, FIRE. And I forgot what the acronym means, and I wrote it down. And of course, I failed to, I don't know where I put my sticky note, but that doesn't matter. What I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about some of these concepts regarding this FIRE movement. Now, this is something that started a couple of years ago. It is a concept where you will live a very, very meager existence. And by following this concept of FIRE, you'll be able to get yourself retired in maybe 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years. And when we come back from break, I'm going to talk about the recommendations that have been made by these folks that are promoting this FIRE movement so that you can have an understanding of what that path forward looks like. And then we'll talk about comparing it to our path forward, which, to be honest with you, makes a lot more sense to me. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
Welcome back to the show. So, have you heard about the FIRE movement? Now, FIRE stands for Financial Independence Early Retirement, or retire early is what I should say, because it would be RE, FIRE. And it's a combination of concepts. It really is. So if you break the FI and FIRE apart from the RE, the concept is this, that you will achieve financial independence and no longer need to work for additional money. And then the second component, the retiring early, is the concept of, well, it's no longer working. So how do you achieve that? I mean, what are the fundamental concepts of the FIRE movement? The idea is this, that no matter how much money you make, because you're out there trading time for money, you will take a portion of that money you earn and you will put it aside. You will save it, you will invest it, and you will live off of whatever is left over. Now it uses kind of a formulary to determine how long it's going to take you to achieve where you're trying to get to. Yeah, I know it's confusing. So let me just break it down for you here. I was looking at a Money magazine. Actually, it was CNN Money. I'm sorry, I got them mixed up there. I was looking at an article that they wrote a while ago when they were talking about the concept of FIRE. And they made some interesting points, because essentially what they did was they told you how it works. So, well, here, let me just share it with you. In order to be financially independent in 5 years, you're going to need to ratchet your savings rate all the way up to, are you ready for this? 82% of your income. That's right. That's what they say in the article. You will need to save 82% of all of your income. And this is how they break it down. They say, if you're earning $50,000 after taxes, so you're maybe in the $60,000, $65,000 income bracket, and then of course you pay your taxes and things like that. They're saying if you bring home $50,000 after taxes, your annual expenses will need to be under $9,000. That's what they said. And not for like a month or two, for the entire year. They go on to say this. They say if you had I can't say it. It is the sacrifice you'll need to make so that you can bank the other $41,000. So out of your monthly income, about $3,500 will go into savings. Now, they use the word savings. I think they meant to say investments, but they used the term savings, and I think they got that right. And here's the scary part. You'll need to have a sharp plan to get on with just $750 a month. Yeah. Can you imagine trying to live off of $750 a month? Now, I can go back to when I was in college, and I used to get by on very little money because I had absolutely no money when I was in college. I was a typical college student. I was broke. I didn't have daddy's credit card, and that's just the way it was. And you think about it. That's a very meager existence. I mean, $750 for everything. For everything. That means your food, your lodging, your vehicle expenses, if you can even afford to have a vehicle. Now, CNN Money goes on to say this. They say, even if you earn closer to $100,000 after taxes, all right, so maybe if you make more money, this becomes a easier process. They said this, you still would be living a fairly basic existence on $18,000 a year while pocketing $82,000. No, this is crazy. So, now you're living with a budget of $1,500 a month. Yeah. I'm just telling you, there are people out there that are trying to do this. I've actually read some stories about people that have said they've been successful doing this. I don't know what kind of life you lead. I don't know what your life is like. Let's say you get to that point. Let's say you get to that point in 5 years. You've been able to live off. Let's go with the $100,000 after taxes. You're making $100,000 a year after taxes, and you're living off of $1,500 a month. It makes me wonder, where are you living? What kind of property are you living in to where you can afford either the rent or the mortgage and still pay the other associated costs with living? I don't know. Maybe you're renting out a room from somebody else who, you're in a 4-bedroom house and you've got one of the 4 rooms. And maybe you're paying $500 a month for that. Maybe included in that is utilities. And then you've got to feed yourself. Well, I'm thinking you're not eating out ever. What do? Do you go to the food pantries to try and get food? I'm just trying to fathom living off of a budget of just $1,500 for all of your expenses. Yet these fire people say that's the way to do it. They go on to say this, no matter your income, the savings rate is going to be possible only for those people with virtually no debts. That's right. So you can't have any debts. You can't have student loan debt. Most of you have it. So this is probably not going to work for you. You can't have credit card debt. Most of you have some of that. You can't have that. Some of you have vehicle loans. Well, you can't have that. This isn't going to work for you. And what they're recommending in this article is that many of the people working towards this FIRE concept, they start by paying off their mortgage first or live a car-free life. Now, you think about paying off your mortgage first. Most mortgages are a 30-year affair. Now, some are 15 years. I know there's 15-year money out there, but you think about it. So let's say you're going to do that and you're going to pay off your mortgage, and let's say you have a 15-year mortgage. So basically what you've decided to do is that you're going to spend all of your available money to pay down a house, which, by the way, isn't paying you any money on a monthly basis. And in doing so, you're going to spend 15 years doing that just so that you can get on this 5-year FIRE program and try and go another 5 years by living extremely frugally. Extremely frugally. I mean, what kind of quality life can you have on $1,500? I don't know. Maybe some of you don't need a quality of life. But me, I need one of those. And I've got a family, too, and they expect quality of life. We come back from the break. I'm going to get into some more of these FIRE concepts, and I'm going to talk about how real estate works better.
Warning. Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
Welcome back to the show. So on today's show, I'm just talking about this thing called the FIRE movement. Now, I don't profess to be an expert on this whole thing and how this whole thing works, but I found it very interesting that if you are wanting to retire yourself in 5 years or less, that this is a mechanism that is out there that you could follow that could get you to that point. Now, what I'm looking at is a CNN Money article that was written that talks about how do you retire yourself in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or 20 years? And we'll get into some of the rest of the scenarios here. But what I think is pretty interesting is that it focuses on having a very meager existence. It focuses on being very minimalist. Now, when you think about what your monthly budget is, I mean, just sit back and think about it for a minute. You've got some kind of house payment, whether you rent, whether you own. Even if you own and don't have a mortgage, you still have to pay taxes, and you should be paying insurance. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for potential peril. You also have things called living expenses. There are costs associated with the utilities where you live. There are costs associated with the food that you consume. Now, I think on this FIRE movement, the concept of eating out, that's off the table. That's completely off the table. And going out drinking with your friends, I don't see how that's affordable either. And what about clothes? Are you going to get all of your clothes from secondhand stores? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that might be all you can afford, is to go to thrift stores to find clothing for yourself because you don't have a lot of money to spend. Yeah. Let's get into this 10 years from now. This is where it gets a little bit interesting, because I think people that decide they want to retire in 5 years or less, when they see what it takes to follow this concept to fruition, they may see that that's just not obtainable. It's just in the too hard to do box. So let's see what it takes to retire 10 years from now? You want to give yourself a little more breathing room, maybe, still become financially independent. So you're going to give yourself 10 years to do it. Well, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to boost your savings rate to about 66.5% of your income. That means if you're earning $50,000 a year after taxes, your annual expenses will need to clock in under $16,750 a year so that you can put away the other $33,250 into your investment accounts. So out of your monthly income, $2,771 will go towards savings. That's the word that the article uses. It says that money's going towards savings. And you'll have almost $1,400 a month to live on. Now, housing costs will cut significantly into that money. But if you have, now get this is what the article says. It says, if you have incredibly low cost or subsidized housing, you may be able to make this work. That's what they said. They said if you have incredibly low cost or subsidized housing, in other words, somebody else is paying money so that you can live more affordably. Yeah. I mean, that's the concept there. I mean, I think the author of the article is trying to give you a little bit of saving grace. I think they're trying to help you understand that having less than $1,400 a month to live off of is a stretch. And then they go on to say this. They say if you made $100,000 a year, so in other words, if you had a higher salary, it gets a little easier because you'll have $33,500 for living expenses because the remaining $66,500 is going towards your future. You'll need to manage your expenses so that you can live off of $2,800 a month. Now, $2,800 a month, that might be a little bit easier of a target. So what the author is basically pointing out here is that if you can obtain a higher paying job, because all of us, we're given the same number of weeks and the same number of hours in our lives. We get 52 weeks out of the year. We get 24 hours out of a day. And we get nothing more. You don't get anything more than I get when it comes to time. But if you want to follow this FIRE methodology, it's going to be easier for you to follow the methodology because if you have a higher paying job, then you'll actually have a little bit more money to live off of, which could make it more bearable for you. Now, nowhere in this article does it talk about costs associated with going to school or raising a family. I mean, everything I've read in this article so far, it just is focusing on the singular person. It's very, very vanilla when it comes to that. Now, maybe you're wondering, okay, well, maybe we can't get it done in 10 years. What does 15 years look like? Well, here's what they say at the 15-year mark. You're still going to have to save over half of your income, but only just. Your savings rate is going to have to go to 53.7%. For those earning $50,000, your annual expenses will need to be under $23,150 a year so that you can save the other $26,850. So out of your monthly income, $2,200 will go to savings, but you will now have $2,000 to live off of. That might be a little bit easier to swallow. And they go on to say this: if you're earning closer to $100,000, you'll be living on $46,300 a year. You're saving a slightly larger portion at $53,700. That means you're living on $3,858 a month, and you're pocketing $4,475. Now, I can get into the 20-year scenario, but as you can surmise, that if you get to the 20-year mark, you start having more money available for you to live off of. So you start thinking, okay, well, maybe the 15-year mark or the 20-year mark is a better road for me because I got to survive. I mean, I went through college. I lived with no money, having absolutely no money. And you know what? It sucks when you don't have, say $5 or $10 to go to a movie theater with your friends. That is not a great lifestyle, but some of you would think, but you're socking it away. You're putting it away for the future. And I would ask you this, how much are you putting away? How much are you actually building up in that nest egg? Oh, and by the way, when that nest egg starts paying you back, what rate of return will it start paying you back at? And I think what you're going to find is that meager existence that you got used to is going to be the return rate that you'll receive from the money that you put aside. Because keep in mind, you have to live off that money. You're going to deplete that money down over time. So you have to have a big linear stream of money in order to keep things afloat for you. And that assumes no life-changing events. Now, when it comes to real estate, there's a different plan. There's a different way to go because real estate has the ability to pay you as you're investing your money. When we come back from break, I'm going to talk to you about a better way. We'll be back right after this.
One of the things I'd like to get across is that your whole life you wanted to make a change, right? But you've never had the time. This might be it because we have online education that you can get involved in.
We're now going to bring the free workshop to the entire country and really the world. Anybody who is interested can participate in that. We're going to live stream that free workshop and have people online with you on the live stream, talking with you, answering questions, interacting. You're really going to get a great feel for the Lifestyles community from this. And you can register for that. So if you want to find out about us, this is a great way to take a look at us and what we do.
Lifestyles Unlimited has been helping people succeed since 1990. Join us for our free online real estate workshop and learn the 7 principles we teach to run our businesses and provide for our families. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. It's time to turn up the volume and fine-tune your passive income plan so you can create the lifestyle you've always wanted.
Welcome back to the show. So I've been talking about this FIRE movement. I've been talking about some of the concepts regarding the FIRE movement, how they conceptualize that by putting away the vast majority of the money that you earn can get you on to a path of retirement in, say, 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20 years. But what I'd like to do now is I'd like to talk to you about how you can take a different path. See, real estate investing has the ability to get you retired in 5 years or less. We have many, many members at Lifestyles Unlimited that do that day in and day out. And that's what we do, is we teach you everything you need to know with regards to investing in residential income producing real estate so that we can get you on a glide track to getting to a point of retirement in 5 years or less. Now, some people, it takes a little bit longer because everybody comes from a different place. As a result of that, some people, it doesn't take the full 5 years to get it done. So what I'm getting at is this. I'd like to go back to the concept that was shared regarding the 5-year retirement game plan from the FIRE movement. And what they said was this: if you make $50,000 after taxes, what you're going to do is you're going to take $41,000 of that money and you're going to put it away into savings. and you're going to live off of $750 a month. I know it's not a lot of money, but some of you have the capability to do that. But let me throw you a little twist. Let's say you start down this path, and let's say you get to the end of that first year. Now you've got $41,000 set aside, and you've been living off of $750 a month. So you've proven that you can do it. What if you did this? Instead of taking that $41,000 and leaving it in a mutual fund or putting into stocks or bonds or wherever your financial planner is recommending that you put that money, what if you put it into 2 single-family homes? And those single-family homes have the potential to pay you 5 different ways, the most important of which is cash flow. You see, there are plenty of properties out there that you can acquire today that you can get into for, say, $15,000 a door, cash out of pocket, when you buy the way we show you how to buy income-producing properties. And those properties have the potential to return you $400 a month in passive, positive income. What I'm getting at is this. You could go into that second year and you could keep putting that $41,000 aside. But because you took that first $41,000, the one, the amount of money you saved after just doing this fire movement for 1 year on the 5-year plan, and you invested into 2 single-family properties, those properties have the potential to return you $800 a month in passive income. Now, if you're already living off of $750, effectively what those properties did for you is it just doubled the amount of money you receive. Because you're saving off the $750, but now you've got $800 coming in the form of passive income. So essentially you now have $1,550 to live off of. And let's say you get to the end of that second year and you amass another $41,000. So what did you do? You went and you bought yourself 2 more properties. Now you've got 4 properties producing $1,600 a month in passive income. You've essentially tripled the amount of money you're living off of. Do you see how this works? So when you get to the end of that 5-year glide plan, the concept is this. You would have 8 properties under your belt, producing $400 a month. That's $3,200 a month in passive income. And you have that money invested in real estate that is also appreciating over time. So the value is going up. And because you became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited and you learned the correct way to acquire properties, you have also captured equity on those properties. In other words, you have additional equity in those properties. So if, you get to that 5-year mark, you might decide it's time to sell 2 of those properties or 4 of those properties, and to take the equity out of those properties and to go buy replacement properties and more of them. Or maybe you hold those properties, you do a cash out refinance on those properties, you take money out, and with those proceeds, you go and you buy additional properties. It's a different approach. See, the way we do it is we're interested in producing cash flow, because as that cash flow comes in, it offsets our ordinary expenses. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I can't live off of $750 a month. I just can't. I can't. I won't even explain why. I can't. That's not my lifestyle. That's not what I want to do. But it's a technique. If you're one of those people that thinks, You can live off a very minimal existence. It's a way to get moving forward, especially if you don't have any money. But the concept is this. We want you to take that money you're putting aside, and we want you to invest it in real estate. Because when you're just putting money into whatever account your financial planner set up for you, that money may be growing over time due to inflation and market forces and things like that, but it's not paying you any money every month. You're not taking the profits out every month and living off of it. The money is staying right in there. But when you put that money into real estate, that real estate is doing different things. It's providing you cash flow. It's providing you the ability to capture equity and the growth of that equity over time, because real estate does go up in value over time. It does. I mean, our statistical information basically says real estate has the potential to double in value every 10 to 20 years, depending on location. Yeah. You're getting the ability for equity to grow just by the fact that you're making a monthly mortgage payment, because within that mortgage payment, you have principal and you have interest that you pay. When you pay the principal portion of your payment, you are decreasing the amount of money you owe on that property. So your equity is growing a little bit on a monthly basis too. Then there's the tax advantages to real estate. There are very significant tax advantages. I mean, we are allowed to depreciate real estate and to use that depreciation as an offset to the income streams that we make in real estate. And by doing it correctly, we're able to defer the taxes. Yeah, we are. And it is a really cool thing. And if you do it correctly through an entire lifetime, you can essentially defer your taxes, and then you die. And when you die, your heirs take over those properties at a stepped-up basis, meaning whatever they're worth in the fair market value, and the day you die, that's what they're worth. You're not going to pay the taxes because you're no longer here to pay them, and you've given the properties to the people that you care about. It's a legacy event. And the other way that we make money in real estate has to do with forced appreciation. Now, that only works in multifamily, and it has to do with the fact that valuation of properties, whether they're single family or they're multifamily, are calculated two different ways. So in the multifamily space, we are able to force appreciation upwards. In other words, grow our equity based on a financial model, based on increasing the net operating income of those properties. I would venture to say that if you took your money and you invested it in real estate, you would be far better off when you got to the end of the 5 years than if you followed the FIRE program. You would also be living off of a lot more money as you progressed through those years. So, yeah, FIRE movement might be right for you. I don't know. Don't know what your thoughts are. Not right for me, but real estate investing was definitely the way to go. And I'll tell you what, if you want to check us out, go to lifestylesunlimited.com, check out everything about us, and then sign up for a free workshop. And remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.